Hey guys, thanks for joining us back out here at the Range Report. And I have to apologize for it being such a long delay in bringing you guys any new content. A little backstory, as you guys may know, uh, today's the 1 year anniversary to me falling into a hole at my day job and breaking my ankle, and eventually finding out I had a pretty severe back injury. So I haven't really been able to get out to the range to do what I want to do, to do the shooting, evaluations, and all the rest of that. I've been collecting equipment, collecting accessories, collecting all kinds of stuff so I can bring content to you guys. But because of some physical limitations and the surgeries and rehab, and not being able to drive and carry all my gear anyplace, I've been relegated to just spending my time doing our weekly podcast. And as you can see from where I am right now, my studio is currently my garage. It's the only level in the house I can walk to without having to go up and down the stairs. But I've been eager to try and get back on camera because we have found some really cool products that we've wanted to bring to you guys, and we've had some pretty good ideas of what we wanted to do. And one of the things that we had been working on was we wanted to do what we were going to call the mild to wild build. And what we were going to do was start off with an 80% lower. And what we were going to do was do the milling operation on it, show you guys how to do all that, how to build a rifle, an AR platform rifle. And what we wanted to do was start off with something absolutely bare bones. What is the least expensive rifle that you could build on your own with whatever tools you have at your availability? And we were going to then test that rifle out. And what the plan was that we were going to slowly upgrade that rifle, component by component, replacing every piece in it with an upgraded part. And we were going to test that rifle and see if the parts that we were putting in were really worth the value of spending the money on it. So what we wanted to do was try and build the rifle out to the point where it would be something that could compete with the top of the line rifles, and break it down into affordability segments so that you would know, well, what's the best rifle I could build for $500? What's the best rifle I could build for $750, $1,000, $12, $15, however much you want to spend on it. Now, granted, some of these things that we were going to leave off of there were optics, because that's a variable that's dependent upon the shooter. But we wanted to be able to add a whole bunch of different triggers, buffer tubes, weighted buffer tubes, change bolt carrier groups, do different barrels, various accessories. So we would have started off with one chassis and built a multitude of rifles out of it. And unfortunately, censorship being what it is, we're not allowed to do that. So the first couple of attempts that we tried to put out there, the Big Brother people decided to pull the plug on it and not let us do what we wanted to do. Well, in the first version of what we were going to do, to show you, we were going to use an Anderson Lower parts kit on a milled 80%, and give you just an analysis of the trigger to show you what it would do and how you can improve upon that trigger. Now, most people are going to improve upon that trigger by polishing, filing, doing all the rest of that stuff if they have firearm experience. Or they're going to do the other route, which is to buy a drop-in trigger or a performance trigger. Well, that's going to be $150, $500 to be able to do that. So we wanted to, again, find a step that you could do without having to do any machining, and how you could improve upon the stock foundation. And in our research, we came across a company called Hyperion Munitions. And what they have is something called the Precise Trigger Control Unit. Now, on your standard 80% lower, or most of the fully machined lowers that you can get, you have an open trigger guard on it that you can put whatever trigger guard you want on here depending upon what the need is. And Anderson will provide you with a lower trigger guard when you buy the kit. Now remember, this is an unmachined one, so I couldn't put the trigger in this one. However, due to the advancement of science and technology, we are all makers. And with that being said, you might notice the little machine over my corner over here. That's my 3D printer. And in accordance with the finest traditions of being an American, I decided I'm going to make something on my own. So I made this. This is a 100% perfectly operational lower that it is legal for me to produce because I do not intend on transferring it, selling it, or anything else. Now, I used a very good filament for this called PTA, which is not what you think, but it's a very durable resin, and inside of it I installed an Anderson trigger. Now, the Anderson trigger I installed is the bare bones Anderson trigger. It is got the creep, the grittiness, it has the weight, it has everything that you would expect, out of a budget trigger. Except what we did is we added the Hyperion Munitions trigger control unit. To be precise, it's the precise trigger control unit. Now, what this trigger control unit does is it limits the travel of the trigger itself. From a Mil-Spec trigger, you've got a lot of creep, then you'll hit that wall and it'll start to roll and then it'll break. After it breaks, the trigger has over travel and it continues to travel back. The reset is now very long. What the precise trigger control unit does is it has two set screws that are inside of it. One of it limits the travel of the trigger going backwards. The other one goes up through the grip frame and it limits the actual trigger itself in the sear. So what you wind up with is a trigger that you can fine tune so that it's all wall and no over travel and an extremely short reset. It doesn't address the trigger weight itself, but what you'll find by adding this $48.95 unit, and we'll have the link in the description below, is that you wind up with a trigger that's incredibly crisp, incredibly quick, and has an extraordinarily short reset. I'm going to demonstrate this for you. Now, I'm going to put my hand up here on the top because you don't want to have your hammer smacking into your polymer. But, like I said, this is still going to have the same weight to it that the stock trigger would, except you have all wall. There's nothing there. Now, I want you to watch the reset. That's it. Just about an 1/8 of an inch reset. And when you break, that's it. 1/8 of an inch break, 1/8 of an inch reset. Now, that's on a Mil-Spec trigger. There are $1,000 ARs out there that have the same break and reset that don't compare to what this device turns this trigger into. I was literally stunned by how well this made this trigger work. Now, we did take this lower, we did put an upper on it, buffer tube and everything else, and we ran it. But again, because we are now assembling the nature of how this was produced, we weren't allowed to show you that. So we're going to be taking the guts out of this, and we've ordered a serialized lower that we are going to assemble so that nobody has anything to say about it. All that'll be done off camera, and we are going to once again start going through the procedure of building the gun that we want to build, because we really want to be able to show everybody what the options are that are available to them what they're capable of building, and what you could expect to pay for the performance that you want. Like I said, if you can build yourself a $1,000 gun that performs like a $2,000 gun, why would you spend the extra $1,000? The only problem for us is, in the process for us building the gun, we're going to be replacing a lot of parts that we buy. So we're going to put parts in, shoot it, evaluate it, then take those parts out, put them in the parts drawer. So by the time we're done, we'll have a $2,000 rifle that probably costs us $3,000 or $4,000 to build. But again, nobody's done this so far that we know of. So we want to be able to bring that to you guys. And in the process, once the rifle reaches certain points, we're going to let you guys know what it costs. We'll have price lists and everything else, and what you can expect to buy, where you can find it, and everything else. But for today, we wanted to start off with the basics. And that's, you're not going to get any more basics than how to make a Mil-Spec trigger feel and operate like a performance drop-in. And again, if you guys want to check them out, this is Hyperion Munitions. This is the precise trigger control unit. It's on the website. We'll include it in the link in the video. And we're going to include a full-length article on the L1F.US website that you guys can read it there, and we'll have a bunch more technical schematics that we'll put out on that. That'll be an article that'll be included in the series of the Wild to Mild build project that we're going to be doing. So in the meantime, we're going to let you go with that. This is Frank from the Range Report. You guys be safe and shoot straight. And again, if you're coming back to the channel, really do appreciate your patience. And we've gotten a lot of emails and well wishes over the last year. Means a lot. It definitely means a lot to us. Know that you guys haven't abandoned us, which is something we're very grateful for. So with that, and remember, on Friday nights we have our podcast that you can find us on Facebook at the Liberty First Foundation page, or you can find us on YouTube at the Liberty First Foundation page. Every now and then we'll throw the link in so that the podcast shows up on this YouTube channel. So we would appreciate it if you could hit like, hit subscribe, and go from there. Like I said, we really appreciate the support and you bearing with us. It's been a long time coming. We miss the hell out of you guys. So until next time, you guys be safe, shoot straight.